What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 102, and we started today's episode off with some assistant manager emails here, letting us know that Neymar's suspension in the Champions League is over, and Luke Shaw got a suspension as well. Don't know about you guys, but I've noticed this season it happens quite a lot more than usual. Players getting suspended for accumulating more yellow cards. That's never really been too much of an issue for me, but now it seems to happen quite frequently. But still taking on Chelsea here for the first game of today's episode, the first of 4 in today's episode, taking on Chelsea back in the Premier League after our fantastic win against Paris Saint-Germain in the last game in the last episode, beating them by 2-0 in that quarter-final first leg away in France. Now back in the Premier League taking on Chelsea. First chance fell to the wayside, but Butler made a pretty good save, and then in the 36th minute here, Neymar almost scored one of the goals of the season. Sadly for us, though, Begovic made a good stop at his near post and turned his shot behind for a corner, but it was still 0-0 at the break. There were a couple of chances, but for the most part, this game was a match where the opportunities that fell were really half chances. Chelsea's and the game's best fell here in the second half, this header being cleared off the line by Sofiane Boufal, but it was how the game would finish. Save score at full times, it was at half time. Final score, Watford 0, Chelsea 0, and there were some chances. Chelsea dominated possession in this game, but for the most part, again, the chances and the opportunities were half chances. Not the best of games. A game for the defenders, really. Both teams defended quite well, really, and the game did finish as a 0-0 draw. So not really too fussed, to be honest. Chelsea a decent side, and also as well, despite not having a win in our last 2 Premier League games, we're still comfortably top of the table, and we're still undefeated in the Premier League as well. So, you know, you may be sitting there thinking, seriously, you should be winning more games than this right now, but we're still top of the table, and we're still undefeated, so I'm not too fussed. But either way, following that, Lewis Cook and Mitchell Watson, I think it was Cook and Watson, came to us and copy and pasted the exact same email talking about their roles at the club. But either way, I love it when that happens. That happens at the exact same day. The players say the exact same thing. But still, for the second game of today's episode here, we take on Paris Saint-Germain in our Champions League quarter-final second leg here at Vicarage Road. Winning the first leg by 2-0 meant coming into this game, PSG would have to score at least 2 goals themselves. Otherwise, we will be going through to the Champions League semi-finals. And considering good defence this season, that was looking quite unlikely. Even more unlikely when we opened the scoring in the 25th minute. Iñaki Williams opens the scoring here, and Courtois, I actually felt, despite conceding 2 goals in the first leg, played alright. But for this goal here, I mean, this is just unbelievably poor goalkeeping. Williams goes down the left-hand side, momentarily loses the ball, wins it back, and for this shot, it is such a tight angle. There's only one place he could squeeze the ball into, and it's between Courtois and his near post. How he gets beaten through that tight gap there, I do not know. Awful goalkeeping to be beaten at his near post there as it goes in towards the far corner, and Williams makes it Watford 1, PSG 0. We're not going to complain about it. We're glad to be in the lead in this game, but either way, poor goalkeeping, and PSG are already a goal down. But in the 31st minute, they would get themselves back in the game through Lucas. Cameron Purrington, I decided to give a start in this game at left back and see how he would do. Well, sadly for us, his first major involvement in the game was to try and defend this cross. He got nowhere near it when jumping for the ball, and Lucas, the Brazilian, heads it in, and the number 7 puts PSG back on level terms on the night. So 3-1 on aggregate, but of course, due to the away goal ruling, we did know that if PSG scored an extra 2 goals tonight, they would be going through on away goals. So we had to be really wary of that threat. But on the stroke of half time there, Butler made a really good save to prevent PSG from going in front for the first time in the game. And 14 minutes after the restart here, they almost took the lead here. A Tweedy shot going just wide of the post and behind for a goal kick. But it was still Watford 1 at Paris Saint-Germain 1. But PSG's problem though was they were having a lot of the ball, but they weren't really doing too much with it and weren't looking too urgent. But as the game drew on, they realised they had to start scoring goals to get themselves back in this tie, and they would do so 11.5 minutes to go before the end. Diego Costa, the former Chelsea and Atletico Madrid striker, rifling in this shot from range. Davis gets wrong-footed by Costa, tries to recover and get back, but Costa rifles it past him and Butland before he can react, and the Brazilian-born Spaniard makes it Watford 1 at PSG 2. So we fall behind for the first time in this game, and now things are looking really nervous, because if PSG do get themselves a third goal, they will be going through on away goals. But thankfully for us, with 6 minutes to go, the final chance fell to Paris Saint-Germain. Costa, looking for his second goal of the game, was denied by a great save by Butland, and the game did finish Watford 1, PSG 2. So it's our first home defeat in all competitions this season, but it's not a defeat in the Premier League, so we're still undefeated in the Premier League, which is good to see. But in the Champions League, despite losing this game, we are still celebrating, because on aggregate, I can't say that word, on aggregate, we are going through to the Champions League semi-final. So this was a really ferocious tie, because in the first leg, you know, we won it by 2-0, and you heard me talk about it in the last episode. I was thinking, yeah, we're basically through now. You know, we beat PSG by 2-0 away from home. I can't see us throwing it away in the second leg, but no, we almost did. Thankfully, though, Butler made a couple of big saves in that game, and despite conceding 2 goals, was a big reason as to why we did manage to get through to the semi-finals despite losing on the night. So a loss on the night. Our first defeat since the West Ham United game in the Capital One Cup quarter-finals all those months ago. But thankfully for us, it doesn't matter too much, as we are still going through to the Champions League semi-finals. But for the third and fourth game of today's episode here, we go into the FA Cup semi-finals, taking on Sunderland and Sam Allardyce's side at Wembley. Now, what a start to this game as well, because just 6 minutes in, we would open the scoring through David Alaba. He's our record signing at Watford. He cost us £45 million. He's got a couple of assists this season. One came in the last episode against West Bromwich Albion away from home, but hasn't done as well as I was hoping. But this is one way to respond to any kind of criticism he may have been receiving in the media, saying his price tag has not been justified. What a strike from David Alaba, the Austrian, the former, well, City man in the game and Bayern Munich man too. Rifles it from range over the goalkeeper into the top corner. What a lovely goal that was, and it is Watford 1, Sunderland 0, with his first goal in a Watford shirt this season. So if you're going to score your first goal for the club, make it memorable. I say that so often, and what a lovely and memorable strike that certainly was from David Alaba. So Watford 1, Sunderland 0 going to the break. It should have been 2-0 though. Ross Barkley had a great chance to make it 2-0 and double the lead, but sadly for us, his shot went wide, the post and behind for a goal kick after Balotelli unselfishly gave him the ball when he could have scored himself. In the 81st minute though, we would have a good chance to make it 2-0 and double our lead. Marco Ryan Taller receives the ball, cuts inside, Patrick Van Aanholt takes him down, and the left back has no complaints here, or he shouldn't have so, because he does clip Ryan Taller when he was going through, and the referee does give a penalty. So Balotelli off the pitch. I gave the penalty to Ryan Taller despite Neymar standing over it, because Marco did win it. Marco the Magician stands up, and as you can see, Pickford is rooted to the spot as he rifles the ball into the top corner and makes it Watford 2, Sunderland 0. So Ryan Taller would have finished just over 7 minutes to go in the game, and that is going to send us through to the FA Cup final. So coming to this game, on the back of that defeat to PSG, I would have felt to myself that Sunderland would be feeling quite confident going into the game. No, he just lost for the second time this season against PSG in the Champions League. I would have thought they would feel quite confident in this game, but instead, they didn't really do anything at all. They were really poor. Djokovic in goal for Butland had a very quiet 90 minutes, and we won the game easily by 2-0. There were only 4 shots, and only 2 of which fell on target in the game. And of course, both of those 2 shots on target were the goals through Alaba, the man of the match, and also Ryan Taller's penalty. So pretty surprising really, but either way, an easy win for us that one, and we are through to the FA Cup final, where we'll be taking on, interestingly enough, Newcastle United. They beat Chelsea in the extra time period after the game finished 1-1 after 90 minutes, and we'll be taking on Steve McLaren's side in the FA Cup final back at Wembley. So fair enough, but to be honest, Newcastle are actually having a better season than Chelsea in the game so far, and they're currently sitting in 4th place, so I guess it's not too surprising, but either way, still thought Chelsea would have came for an extra time, but they didn't, and we'll take on McLaren side in the FA Cup final as we try and win it for a 3rd straight time. But still, we take on City for the 4th and final game of today's episode here away at the Etihad Stadium. Taking on City, hoping to make it 2 wins from 2 and get a good win streak going come the end of the season. Taking on City, first chance fell to Pellegrini's men. This shot going just over the bar from David Silva and behind for a goal kick. In the 27th minute though, a good chance for us to take the lead as Butland launches this kick along towards Nathaniel Klein. He plays it through towards Conor Plianka, the Ukrainian here. He picks the ball up just inside his own half, takes it around Kolarov with the reverse step over, beats the Serbian for pace, whips in across. What a ball that is, and Mario Balotelli, it just had to happen, didn't it? Hasn't scored in a few games, gets on the end of this cross and heads it past Joe Hart, one of his former teammates, and into the back of the net to make it City 0, Watford 1 as he scores at one of his old stadiums. Really great cross by Conor Plianka though. After he beats Kolarov for pace, he whips it into the centre, a delicious ball. All Balotelli's got to do is use the pace of that ball and nod it on target. That's what he does, and he puts it past Joe Hart and into the back of the net. So City 0, Watford 1. Balotelli just had to score, and he did. 1-0 to Watford. Just for the break though, City almost equalised. Great save by Butler. Knows he turns his shot behind for a corner and keeps it at 1-0. And at half time, as you can see, City had dominated possession in this game. but we were still in the lead by a goal to nil. And 2 minutes after the restart here, had a great chance to double our lead. Neymar gets sent down the right-hand side here and takes it around Mangala. First with a Balassi flick, then a McGeady spin, and then a nice little fake Rabona. Beats the centre-back, all ends up, then another fake Rabona, gets himself inside to shoot, but sadly Joe Hart denies him a good save and turns behind for a corner. So many times this season, Neymar has done a few nice skill moves, but sadly his shot's been saved by the goalkeeper. Same happens there, good save by Joe Hart, and it's still 1-0. And from the corner it was crossed in, the header was won by us, but again Hart makes the save at his near post and keeps it at City 0, Watford 1. And in the second half though, City really weren't doing much at all. They were trading by a goal to nil. They weren't really going in search of an equalising goal, which is quite surprising. They were holding onto the ball alright, so were we. They weren't really getting too many chances. Joe Hart made another good save there tonight, Lukaku, and in the 89th minute here it's Balotelli, loose out momentarily to Hamšík, wins it back off the Slovakian, plays it through to Romelu Lukaku off the bench, and once he runs through one-on-one, we have all the faith in the world in Lukaku to finish it, and he does. He finishes the chance and he finishes the game. City 0, Watford 2, the former Newcastle striker in the game, makes it 2-0 to Watford and does ensure we'll be getting the 3 points and keeping, hopefully, a win streak alive come the end of the season. Great ball by Balotelli, great finish by Lukaku. It's actually only his first goal in the Premier League this season, but in defence of Lukaku, he scored 6 other ones, but they've come in all other competitions. But still, Lukaku with a goal off the bench, makes it 2-0, and that does secure the 3 points for Watford. So another win for us, and, you know, the Premier League, they may as well just crown us now. We're effectively champions. There's only 4 games to go for us and 5 to go for Arsenal. If Arsenal want to catch up to us, they're in second place right now. They've got to win all of their games and hope that we lose all of our games. I think we might be able to draw 1 game and then lose the rest and still be crowned champions. Still see Arsenal be crowned champions, but let's be honest here, it's pretty obvious the season comes to its close. We are going to be lifting the Premier League title for a second straight season. But that does end the episode though, guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you enjoyed today's episode of Career Mode, then please do leave a like. That is of course much appreciated. It really helps my channel out. Of course, you don't have to leave a like if you don't want to, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.